utter panic inside the luxury cruise ship where an Ebola scare broke out. Passengers aboard a Carnival Cruise Lines ship were let off in Galveson, Texas Sunday after a healthcare worker who was being monitored for Ebola quarantined herself in her room. It was supposed to be an escape to the Caribbean sunshine for a week of parties, relaxation, and sipping champagne while watching gorgeous sunsets from the decks of a luxury cruise ship. But 4 days after the Carnival Magic set sail from Galveston, Texas, rumors began swirling that all was not well on board. The ship, complete with a swimming pool, an array of water slides and a giant cinema screen, stopped inexplicably off the coast of Belize, and the whispers began. The rumors were going round we were stuck in the mud. Someone has been kidnapped, said one passenger. As the theories got wilder over the clink of cocktail glasses at the bar, no one imagined they were about to be at the center of an international Ebola scare. Finally, the captain confirmed on the loudspeaker that among their number was a woman who worked as a lab supervisor at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital in Dallas. She had processed clinical samples from Thomas Eric Duncan, a Liberian man who was the first person diagnosed with Ebola in the U.S. The 42-year-old died on October 4 days before the ship sailed. The lab supervisor and her husband were voluntarily quarantined in their cabin as fear spread on the ship, which arrived back at port in Galveston Sunday. Petty Officer Andy Kendrick told the Associated Press that a Coast Guard crew flew in a helicopter Saturday to meet the Carnival Magic and retrieved a blood sample from the woman. He said the blood sample was taken to a state lab in Austin for processing. The Ebola test results were negative, Carnival Cruise Lines told passengers. But before Sunday's report on the test results, John Malone, the passenger, said there was utter panic on board, adding, "People are scared. I've seen people crying. You're using the same buffet line as someone else, the same waiters, the folks that clean the staterooms. It's really difficult to control any type of virus that's on a cruise ship. It's like a floating petri dish. It spreads very rapidly. They're cleaning elevators. I've seen people with pink liquid cleaning the bar area and the handrails." His brother, Jeremy, said, "You see a ton of people that are crying, and then there are folks that are having a drink." Outside his room on the 11th floor, Jeremy Malone saw up to 40 workers in masks with cleaning fluids. As word of an Ebola scare spread, so many passengers tried to call home that their mobile signals failed and the internet crashed. One passenger, who gave his name as Michael, was able to get through to CNN by telephone. He said, "Obviously our concern is where is this person on the ship and what kind of setup do they have to care for them? I can't imagine it as a completely quarantined area. My wife has medication for a kidney transplant. She is susceptible to getting something a little easier than the rest of us, and we don't know where this person has been on the ship." The passenger first realized something was wrong when he looked on a map of the ship's course on his television. He said, "We were supposed to be put into a port and I noticed that we were pulling away from the port. The captain finally came on and said we couldn't get permission to port. That's when everything hit the fan here and we realized we were quarantined." The lab supervisor boarded the Carnival Magic, which carries 3,690 passengers and up to 1,367 crew, in Galveston, on October 12. She had not been placed under any travel restrictions by the hospital or the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Both have been criticized for not telling health workers who had contact with Mr. Duncan to stay home. The woman on the ship was only required to self-monitor her temperature daily to see if she developed a fever. After seeing news reports about 2 nurses who worked at the hospital, 9FM, 26, and Amber Vinson, 29, being diagnosed with Ebola, she decided to report herself to the captain and self-quarantine by staying in her cabin. The ship then applied to drop her off in Belize so she could be flown back to Texas, but the Belize government refused. Dean Barrow, the country's prime minister, refused a personal appeal from John Kerry, the U.S. Secretary of State, to send a helicopter to pick her up from the Carnival Magic and take her to a plane waiting at an airport in Belize.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. You can visit us on www.therealthingmeme.webs.com.